said, you must not necessarily buy GMOs. And even this, even the chemicals you are talking about, they are the same chemicals that are being used by other farmers. But the developers try to make it convenient by putting this in together. If you want to buy, these are the things that can enhance you to make sure you have a bumper harvest.
It's a trade
and if you look
thing,
at,
you know,
it's a trade thing, and they say it is the consumer's choice. Nobody is going to be forced to consume GMO. Nobody will be forced to buy, to even plant GMOs.
How are we sure of that?
Nobody's going to be forced. Well, I'm telling you this. I'm the chief executive of the agency. The statement I'm making today, I'm talking to the whole of Nigeria. I'm talking to the whole Nigerians. So it is not a matter of saying whether we are sure of it. Whatever I'm saying today, I'm talking about the government position, and it is what is going to be. It's going to be an option for everybody.
In America, for instance, there's so much genetically modified food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you see, literally. You have to go out of your way to look for the organic food, and it's going to cost you a tidy sum. I mean, are we likely to get to that stage here too?
I don't think we are going to get to that stage because, as I said, it's a free economy, and every farmer wants what every farmer wants is a bumper harvest. To have more money in his pocket. So it's going to be a choice of farmer. I want to grow this. I want to grow that. If you want to go for organic, you go for organic. If you want to go for GMOs, and again, all the GMOs are not the same. They are not modified to achieve the same purpose. You have the one that are insect resistant, you have the one that are herbicide tolerance, you have the one that disease resistant, and you also have biofortified that have enhanced their content, nutrient content.
We have to wind up now, so let me read this and then read out some things here so that two of you can respond quickly. Professor Abu Ilam says, Roundup a herbicide that Monsanto sells because its GMO maize can resist it, and talks about what happens. Munir Idris says, countries globally clearly have highlighted the dangers of GMOs, and that's why they are well labeled in stores. The question of labeling will come in here in Nigeria. Dafiri Rimara says, whereas genetic engineering may not be bad, that which is practiced by the company Monsanto is said to be evil and bad. Munir Idris again says, they are cheaper than the organic goods, but they pose greater risk in health-wise. But I'll say this. Last year, there was a proposal to nationalize decisions on GM crops in Europe. Currently, only one GM crop, that's Monsanto's MON 810. The pest-resistant corn is grown in EU, and only 5 out of 28 countries grow that. No GM animal or derived products are on the EU market. Now, that's EU and Monsanto and all of that. Yeah. But in Nigeria, the question of labeling, proper labeling, the question of some of the fruits that have even come into the country, like the apples that are brought in. Now, some people are wondering about that as well. So how effective would labeling be if these countries out there are turning away from or are trying to reduce the amount of genetic modification
that they consume? Are they going to turn Nigeria into a dumping ground? That's the question.
You see, one thing I want to tell you, EU should not be used as a model in the adoption of GMO. The EU Commission has said there is no negative impact in the use of GMOs. Spain and some other countries in Europe, they have accepted to go. Europe imports about 16 billion worth of GMO annually for consumption for whatever purpose, apart from growing it. And some of them are doing confined feed trials. You must understand that this technology came from America. So if Europe and America have some differences in technology, Africa should not imbibe the way of Europe. Europe does not have the same standard with Africa. Nigeria will not be used as a dumping ground for any genetically modified organism. Any genetically modified organism that we will consume in this country, that produce or import, will be tested to ensure that it do not have any adverse impact on human health or on the environment. Nigerians should be rest assured. The agency is there to ensure that the Nigerians are protected. And the issue of even the World Health Organization and Food and Agriculture Organization, they have said they have not found anything substantially different from what conventional ones and the genetically modified organisms. And the genetically modified, as I said, they are not modified for the same purpose. They are not. I know some people talk about the glyphosate chemical that is being used in herbicide. The glyphosate chemical that is being used in herbicide are being used for other agricultural, for other crops over the years. It should not just be associated with GMOs alone. And apart from that, GMOs will use less chemicals compared to other conventional breeding methods, other crops. So I think we should look at this.
I
from the
also
point of
have an
bias.
addition to the contribution he has just made, which is the fact that if you look at the size of the population of Nigeria, we need to be able to feed ourselves. So, in promoting agriculture in Nigeria, the agricultural revolution will also take into account the kind of scientific development that has gone on to improve agriculture everywhere in the world, everywhere else in the world, which means that at a certain point, high yield crops will also need to be planted to be able to have a bumper harvest to feed the population at large. So therefore, it is important for us to keep it in mind that even if we say we don't want GMO, there are certain useful GMOs that we will obviously be bringing in. Maize, for instance. If we look at the way that they have been able to meet the demand for maize in America, it is because they have been able to do some genetic modification of the kind of maize that will yield highly and be able to be a turnover within a short period of time. That has helped tremendously in feeding the large population that they have in America. We'll likely be going in that direction, because if we don't, our feeding will be seasonal, and that's not what we want. So these are issues that we need to put across so that people will be able to appreciate that it is not against the interest of the people to bring in biotechnology in agriculture.
But when we're putting forth all this goodness, do you expect the Nigerians who are out there and hearing about the class action suit against GMOs and the companies that are working on them, do we throw away all the arguments out there?
No.
Nigerians should trust the Nigerian government.
My pick on that is that
trust their government.
With
this
government,
agency,
yes.
Isn't that a tall ask?
Pardon?
It's a big task.
I know it's
Isn't that
not.
a tall ask?
That is why Nigerians, look, as I said, we already have genetically modified organisms suspect in this country. It is only this agency that can determine what is suitable for Nigeria and what is not suitable for Nigeria. So Nigerians should be rest assured that with the establishment of this agency, they should believe in the government. There's no government in the world that want to do anything adverse to his people. The agency, if anybody has sees any material or crop that they feel that they are suspected, they are not too sure of, they should come to the agency. We analyze them and I'll be sure of.
Let me ask you a question.
In other areas, Nigerians have trusted their government and they have got the short end of the stick. So, I mean, if they're skeptical at this point, would you blame them?
Well, anybody can be skeptical about any issue, but I believe that Nigeria, the change we have presently, Nigerians should trust the system. There is a change, and everybody is seeing there is a change.
The other question will be, are you advocating for the environment, as in the Nigerian environment, rich in biodiversity, or are you advocating for genetically modified organisms?
I'm advocating for safe environment, safe use of genetically modified organisms, and the safe application of modern biotechnology to protect the Nigerian environment and human health.
Must GMOs be used?
I've said it. It's just an alternative tool. This is a discovery. Whether Nigerians develop them or not, the only way, do we really have the capacity to stop them? The only way is to regulate, so that if there are people who are contravening, they will be prosecuted and they'll serve as a deterrent. So the only way is that if there are, where we talk about whether they must be used, as I said before, that there are some problems that we have not been able to solve under conventional methods. So this technology has been the one that has been used to solve some of these problems. My agency does not advocate for GMOs, but what we advocate for is the safety aspect of it.
Dr. Adedeji,
yes, sir.
You are an environmentalist. The environment. Number one, this GMC or GMOs, as the case may be, do you get seeds from them to plant, or do you have to buy the seeds again? How would it affect the environment, the Nigerian environment?
Like he has said, and he has said it over and over again.
Again, because there are still a lot of questions to be asked.
Questions to be asked. Now, the issue is these genetically modified products, there are not many of them in the market in the first instance. In the second instance, those that are in the market have gone through that trial period. So there is empirical data available to be
And they
able
are
to
safe.
say to you that this product is safe. So the ones that they're not sure of, they quickly withdraw them from the market. That's been a practice in the last 10, 15 years. So it is important for us not to railroad people's thinking into believing that GMO is going to flood the market. There are not too many GMOs.
Okay.
That's number one. Number
Okay.
two, the good side of the GMO will also be that will it cause an improvement in the environment, because that is part of the test period. So it is not alienating the environment only to say it is good for consumption. Part of the test over a period of time is that they would probably move this seed that is planted in this environment to another environment and study with comparative analysis what the difference in the effect of these seeds are in different environments before they allow the thing to go into the market.
What about the labeling here in Nigeria?
Labeling anywhere is simply because
I might ask a question in Nigeria.
I'm even
Yeah,
saying
the
that
law specify
labeling
there will be labeling
anywhere
for consumer choice.
is a matter of law.
Yes.
It is the law of the country that tells that this thing must be labeled.
If I may come in here, we've had issues with labeling of products here in the country. NAFDAC has had to go around every time to check some of these products in the shops, in the drugstores, in the grocery stores, and all of that. Labeling is an issue because a product that's expired could be sitting now on the shelf and they tell you it's not expired. So, what's the guarantee that these products will be effectively labeled? There are already some products in the market that people wonder.
True. You're questioning the ability of government to regulate. That's what you're questioning. So
that Nigerians out there that are going to these stores can be rest assured
They will be
that,
labeled, and they will continue to track and survey and monitor the process. Nigerians will be rest assured. They need no doubt. And again, as for you were asking whether GMO, whether it can be regrown, they can be replanted. But under conventional, even when you continue to grow a particular crop over and over a year, you discover that the productivity may reduce. So it is definitely, as they plant these things, after some time, they may need to go for the ones that have been newly improved upon.
All right. Thank you very much. Sir Rufus Esorene Ebegba, Director General of the National Biosafety Management Agency, and Dr. Adetokunbo Adeleji, former MD, Lagos Environmental Protection Agency. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much. Nigerians should believe in the government and trust our judgment. Thank you.
Sir, I will be back in a moment. Don't go away.